Ta-da! And back at y'all with another video. And welcome to this episode, or edition as I like to call it, of Stop the Capping. I'm your host, Ahmad. And we got some things that we need to talk about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, um, we need to talk about some things. And what we're gonna talk about tonight, we're gonna talk about the Trump administration. Okay. Trump administration has been in office for about 43 days, give or take. The Trump and his administration have been in office for roughly about 43 days. And there have been some controversial decisions that's been made by his office, mainly with the federal government, with the termination of certain employees in certain departments within the federal government. And my thing is this: the federal government does not produce or make anything. Let me say that again. The federal government does not do anything. When I say this, they don't do anything. In other words, what I'm saying is the federal government is basically a bunch of men and women handling administrative duties. They don't produce anything to generate money. They don't manufacture nothing. They don't build nothing. They're not really even designing too much of anything. So they're a bunch of administrative personnel that are sitting around collecting millions and thousands of dollars. That is what's really, if you want to pull back the layer, that is what's really going on with our federal government. You want to pull back all the covers, take all the covers off of, and really look at it. We're spending billions upon billions of dollars employing people in positions that's not really needed, just to give people a job. And I understand people need jobs because people need to survive. People need to take care of themselves. They need to take care of their family. And I understand that. But what expenses are being done or being paid to keep those people in positions? Where do federal employees get their pay from? So you can say they get their pay from the federal government. Where does the federal government get their money from? They get it from our taxes. Correct. So we're gonna keep on hiring year after year, month after month, more federal employees that are not really needed. That means you and I are gonna have to come out of our pockets for more taxes to pay their salaries, to make sure there's funding to pay their salaries. You got over 100 and some, 101, 102 senators. How much do you think they're getting paid every 2 weeks, every month? How much? What do you think their annual salary is? And where do you think that money comes from? Think of all the men and women in the armed forces. We got about what? Five, six, seven different branches, not including all the special forces. Where do you think they get their money from? Tax dollars. So sometimes we have to pull back the layer and really try to look and see what the person is really trying to do. So what I did was, instead of following everybody's rhetoric about Donald Trump, I said, let me just pull back some covers on what he's doing. Instead of following the narrative that everybody else is following, instead of listening to a bunch of MSNBC news highlights and programs and getting other people's opinions and views of him, that those that may not even like him. I was like, let me look from my own eyes and pull back my own covers on his administrations and what he's really trying to do. See, when he first came out with Make America Great, all the black people jumped up and down and said, what do you mean make America great? When was America ever great? I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I didn't vote for Bill Clinton. I didn't vote for none of the Bushes because I figured the government wasn't really for the people who needed it most. Every president that came in office when I was growing up, always talking about the middle class, the middle class, the middle class, the middle class, and taxing the rich. At that time, I was in neither category, so you wasn't hurting me. You wasn't benefiting me either. I'm a 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid. I don't even think your policy benefited my parents growing up. So, with that being said, I took another approach in viewing Donald Trump. Instead of following everybody else's blueprint of him, I decided to pull the covers back and look at what he's really trying to do. And I tried to take away from the black and white side of it. Instead of following everybody else's narrative of him, I decided to take a look at him for the policies that he's trying to do and what was he trying to do with these policies. You know what I'm saying? He made some promises when he was elected that he's going to do. Instead of looking at it from a racial perspective, I decided to pull back the covers and look at it from, does it make sense? Everything has an agenda. Okay, what does this agenda that he's implementing now, what does it have on the country as a whole? Let me take a step back. Stop looking at him as and following the narrative that everybody else has put on him, being a racist, don't like this, don't like that. Let me change the landscape. Let me see if I can figure out for myself what he's really trying to do and what he's trying to implement. And see if I come up with the same scenario and conclusions as everybody else. Let me take a different viewpoint of his administration and see what he's truly trying to do. See, a lot of people took Make America Great as us being back in slavery because people were pushing that narrative and we all fell for it. Hook, line, and sinking. He don't like black people, he don't like that. But there's more people in this country than just us. The landscape of the United States in the last 40 years have changed. There are more foreigners in this country present today than there was 40, 50 years ago. Some of the concerns and issues that are now being involved with today, they didn't exist 40, 50 years ago. We didn't have all these different nationalities in our border country right now. We didn't have to deal with all this foolishness being overpopulated by another race of people. We didn't have this 40, 50 years ago when I was a kid. When I was 10 years old, my name is Ahmad. To hear my name 40 years ago was like a rarity. Everyone thought I was from Africa, Ethiopia, or Kenya somewhere. They heard the name Ahmad, they heard the name Abdul. They're like, "Where are you from? You from from the African nation or something?" My name was very uncommon. I used to sit in the front seat everywhere I went because my name was uncommon. Now you fast forward 40 years later, there's about 1,000 different Ahmads here in the United States. So my point is, sometimes we have to look at things from a different viewpoint. We have to sit out and just look at things from our own eye point, our own vision point. And even as you sitting here listening to me speak, have your own viewpoint about things. Don't always be influenced by others. My thing is not try to influence a person to view my opinion as being correct. My viewpoint is look at things from a different perspective. And before we start judging people and judging what we hear, make sure we're really looking at the message that's being told. Don't always be so easily influenced by other people's opinion of the word from another person's mouth. And I was. You hear somebody saying that, oh, Donald Trump don't like this, Donald Trump don't like black folks, and you buy into that instead of trying to look at the what he's really trying to do. What is his goal? What is his purpose? What is his aim? You get yourself caught up in other people's narrative and you start following that same blueprint that they're following. He don't like black people, he don't like that. He wasn't elected just to like us. He wasn't just elected for just us. The person running from office is not there just for one selected group of people. When you running for president, you're supposed to be representing all people within that border country. We just can't say, oh, he ain't representing us. He ain't representing us. When Obama got in office, he didn't just represent us. Some people felt he didn't do nothing for us. Because that's the point. Just because you have a black man in office or a black woman in office doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to sit around and represent everything that benefits you. It's not. It doesn't happen that way. And those that felt it was going to happen that way, I don't know why you thought that it was going to happen that way. Why did you think something really was going to change differently because a black man was in office? So I took all that aside and I said, let me just take a close look at what he really, really wants to do. Okay, immigrations. 40 years ago, we didn't have this problem. We weren't talking about this problem. We had a few boats from Cuba and places like that coming to Florida. We had a few issues back in the 80s with the Cuban migration, but it didn't get to the extent like the Hispanic migration. Yeah, now you fast forward 40 years, now it's an issue. And when people hear Donald Trump saying "Make America Great," stop thinking about the racial profile of the comment and think about why he's saying "Make America Great." So 40, 50 years ago, the United States as a nation, as a nation as a whole, let's go back 50 years now. I'm a 10-year-old kid. So let's go back 50 years. I want you to just take a listen to this. Peel back, if you can, peel back 40, 50 years of your life if you're old enough to do that. I was probably 10 years old back then. So I want you to try to peel back 40 years of your life. Think back 40 years of your life if you can. America led the world in almost every category that we are in dead last in today. I want you to think about this. Listen to what I'm just saying. The United States led the world in almost every category that we are not currently damn near dead last in. We was one of the number one producers of steel, products, car manufacture, goods and services. We led the world almost in every category when it came to building, manufacturing, and making things. I'm talking 40, 50 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have turned into a consumer nation when we led the world in building things and producing things. Now we damn near dead last. So when he said make America great again, that's the viewpoint that I took. That's the blueprint that I took from his making that statement. How can we was a nation number one in this, that, this, and the third, and now we turning around, we damn near gotta buy everything that we want. Every product that comes into our home is damn near coming from China. That made in USA, it's almost damn near non-existent. So instead of me taking that viewpoint that other people were taking, that's what I took the blueprint that he was trying to speak on by making America great again. So once I took away the racial profiling that I had of him out of the equation and started looking at it from that perspective, and this wasn't something I heard from somebody or listened to somebody else say, this is just me taking my own viewpoint on the matter and pulling aside the racial profiling that I was following because of that statement. I pulled back the cover just a little bit more. See, at first I only pulled back the cover half. I only pulled back half the cover because I'm following everybody else. He ain't doing nothing for black folks. This is a different world we living in now than back 40 years ago. Back 40 years ago, it was mostly a black and white thing. Now we got all different types of nationalities here now. We got over 30, 40 different nationalities living here in the United States. 40 years ago, we didn't have that too much of an issue with other agendas, other nationalities. They were scared of, they were like the 1%ers. 1% of Chinese, a little 1% of here, a little 1% of Hispanics, a little 1% of Arabs. Now the landscape has changed 40, 50 years later. So once I pulled back the cover just a little bit more, now I understand what he mean by make America great. He wasn't talking about putting white folks back in order and just, that ain't what he meant. He's talking about a time and a period when we used to lead and dominate the world in steel, agriculture. That's what I took what he meant as. Once I look at it from that viewpoint, I could see what he meant. I could see what the blueprint he was trying to aim for again. He was trying to get it back to that period when we led the world in building and manufacturing. See, once you peel back the racism and get rid of that and take that out of the equation and think about what he truly meant, if you look at it from that standpoint, that we here in the United States 40, 50 years ago, we was leading the world in everything. Now, you fast forward, we don't lead the world in nothing but crime. Every major category that you want to talk about that are issued today, 40, 50 years ago, we was number one. That's what I took that he meant by making America great again, putting us back first as the number one producer of things, not the number one in buying things. That's all we do is buy, buy, buy. We barely make nothing. And when you live abroad like I have lived abroad, people do not run to the store to buy our products. Trust and believe me. People do not run to the store to buy our products in their countries when it's in foreign countries. They don't. They don't run out left, right, and center like we do here to buy their product. They do not give us the same urgency unless it's something truly high, like some Chanel, Mercedes Benz, and that's not even American. But when I was living abroad, people were not breaking their necks to buy our products. And I've lived all over the world, folks. And let me give you firsthand. See, when you're a tourist and a traveler, and you just in the country for 10 days, 20 days, you don't really know nothing. You're not really learning nothing. Stay there a year. Stay there 2 years. Walk within the community for a year. Listen to the conversations being said about us. When you're living in a foreign country for a year, 2 years, you really know the heart and soul of the people in general and how they feel about you. You get to see how your products are being sold in those various countries. People are not running left, right, and center to get our products. And then some of you may say, well, it's too expensive. No, I lived in Japan. Sometimes Japan product was more expensive than ours. And that became an issue. How's our product more expensive than theirs? They weren't complaining about American products being high. They were complaining about their own products being higher than American products. And this is back in the early 80s. My first time living abroad was back in 1981. People were not running to the store left, right, and center trying to buy American products. People stay loyal to their countries. Just like when the foreigners come here from China, Japan, Korea, India, they try to stay within their own community. They're not running out buying American cars left, right, and center. They're buying what? Hondas, Mercedes Benz, Fiat, BMW. They're not running out to buy Chevys, Fords, whatever other big manufacturers. They're not running left, right, and center to get those types of vehicles. Even when they come here, they're still looking for what? Products that represent them. So now here we are, 40 years later, we have to outsource everything for another country. We have to now outsource everything. Now we have to take our country, all our products, all our production over to foreign countries to produce. Make that make sense. And then when Trump say "Make America Great," the first thing we start screaming and hollering is black and oh, he's trying to make us slavery. But y'all don't see the bigger picture because we didn't pull the covers all the way back. We just ran with the narrative that was being perpetrated on TV by the newscasters who didn't like him, who didn't like his viewpoint, who thought he didn't like black people, who always kept propaganda in that race car, throwing that race car. Okay, blacks don't even like African Americans, don't even like African Americans. If that's the case, why are we killing each other left, right, and center? We're killing ourselves faster than they're killing us. We're killing ourselves faster than the police are killing us. But we don't see that angle. We don't see that scenario. We just hear man say, "Oh, make America great." Oh, what do you mean? Put us back in chain. Somebody preached that narrative, and we all jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, Donald Trump don't like black people. Hell, we don't even like our own selves. But if you take a moment and pull back the cover, I'm not trying to promote him as a person. I'm trying to promote his idea of what he truly meant. He's seeing things like I'm kind of seeing it now. How do we go from number one in the world to producing and manufacturing to now become the needy of these things? When we used to lead the world in these things, now we over here running to Canada, running over here this country for here, running over here to that country for there, running over here to that country for this. This country making ice for us. This country producing that for us. This country doing that for us. When we used to lead the world, and the very things that we run into these countries to have produced for us, we used to lead the world in those things of manufacturing and productions. That's what I saw when I hear him say, "Make America Great Again." Not all this other foolishness and shenanigans that we got going on in the media because certain people don't like his demeanor and his attitude, so they want to throw the race card on everything. That's the blueprint I'm looking at. That's the blueprint I'm seeing. Everything you go in the store, China, 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 China. What do we make now? What do we produce now in this country? Not a damn thing but crime and videos and some shenanigans. So once I pull back the cover on what Trump is really trying to do or what he was hoping to do or what his aspirations were wanting to do, I didn't see the black and white picture that everybody else was trying to push on the narrative. I saw him pushing when he's going to these little plants that used to be thriving, used to be number one. Now they barely making ends meet because everything is being produced and manufactured over in other countries. That's what I saw. So when I hear "Make America Great," I didn't take that negative perspective. Oh, at first I did, but then I pulled back the covers just a tad bit. Let me dig in a little bit deeper. Let me not follow the narrative of other people. Let me view his administration from another different viewpoint, from a viewpoint that makes some rational sense instead of looking at it from the black and white picture. We don't manufacture and produce damn near nothing no more. But yet we used to lead the world 40, 50 years ago. We was the number one in the world. Nobody can see this blueprint that he's talking about. Nobody can see this but me. Am I the only one blind out here to understand when he said "Make America Great"? This is what he was. This is what he was envisioning us being number one in the world. How can the country that we used to lead and other people used to follow now we just run around grabbing on people's coattails? We grabbing on China's coattails. We got everybody else is dictating to us what they gonna do and not do. What we can't do because now we don't produce nothing no more. So we like a slave to everybody else. Everybody else is pushing our strings. We like puppets now to all other foreign countries. Now they running the show over here. They telling us what to do, and nobody seems to understand that because we so busy thinking black and white instead of the bigger picture. We're so busy thinking black and white that we can't see the bigger picture because other people has pushing the narrative of black and white instead of the bigger picture. That if we don't change some things, we're gonna be puppets over here. See, nobody's pushing that narrative. Everybody's pushing that race car narrative, that black and white narrative. Instead of pushing, we turning into puppets to form investors, to form producers of our products. We're becoming their puppet. Nobody seems to see that because we're so busy looking about black and white and trying to call the man a racist and all that instead of looking at the bigger picture. We hear make America great again, and we thinking about, oh, he trying to put us back into slavery. He trying to make us niggas again. That is not what he was trying to do. That is not the issue that he was trying to make. We so busy thinking pettiness, we're not seeing the bigger picture of what he truly was trying to do. Now I can understand that viewpoint by making America great again because we were the leader in the world 40 years ago, 50 years ago. The world was following us. Now we just run around with our hands out, following everybody else like puppets. We have become puppets. So now he wants to change that narrative, and nobody seems to understand that. All we see is the negativity, and we try to make things a black and white thing. Nobody sees the bigger picture that we're becoming puppets. We're not leading the world anymore. We're following the world. We have become followers now, whereas 40 years ago, we were leading the world. The world was trying to follow us. Now we're like puppets. We just running around being led on a string. We're like dog on a leash. They let us go so far out and then they pull us back. We have become like dogs on a leash, and foreigners are now controlling the leash. I hate to bring it that way. I hate to say it that way, but it is what it is. We have become like dogs on a leash, and the person holding us are foreigners because they're producing, they're manufacturing everything that we once upon a time used to lead the world in. So now here we are running around grabbing people coattails. Instead of people following us, we got to follow everybody else now. That makes no sense. And we're not seeing the bigger picture in things because we're too busy looking at black and white. People jumping up left, right, and center because federal employees are being laid off. Some things that we do in our country, we're afraid of change. I've noticed that. I notice our country is afraid of making changes. We're afraid to make hard changes because we have become a nation of complacency. We forget that sometimes we had to make hard decisions and hard choices in our life to get where we are. You don't think slavery and getting away from that wasn't a hard choice for them to do? Trust and believe me, it was. Many people today wish it could be that way, but we have to be willing to make changes and make sacrifices and stop being complacent and complaining about everything. Why keep doing the same thing year after year after year after year after year? Let's try something different. That's why I didn't vote for none of the Democrats or the Republicans because they all talk about the same darn thing every election. Taxing the rich, getting more jobs and benefits and blah 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 for the working middle class. But them people that you drive by every day under tunnels, Vada, sleeping on bus stops and trains, nobody talks about them. Nobody comes up with a solution for those individuals sleeping on the street. Middle class got a job. Middle class got a roof over their head. Rich got a roof over their head. But them men and women who sleeping on trains, bus stops, the ones you turn your nose up to, nobody sees that. They're addicts. Okay, they're addicts. What are you doing to get them out of the addict state of mind? What are you doing to produce a better individual? That's why I stopped voting because all you talk about is the middle class and taxing the rich. Nothing about solving problems. Now things have really gotten out of hand in this country. Now people jumping up left, right, and centers. Now people coming up here telling us what they not gonna do and what they're gonna do. See, instead of us becoming a leader, now people want to walk around telling us what to do. Now people want to start pumping out their chest and poking and pushing. 40, 50 years ago, they were looking for handouts left, right, and center. Now all of a sudden their country has gotten a little better, got a little wealthier, off of our backs, off of our spending. Yes, off of our spending. Because we probably still lead the world in spending. We got to. We don't build nothing no more. And what we do build, people think it's crap. What we do produce, people think it's crap. We got all these other products over here, left, right, and center. The world just full. Every time I pick up something, China, 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 China. So now you're filling our country with your products. You're filling our country with your people. And we're just supposed to sit back and just say, hey, let it be. Nobody sees nothing wrong with that. You're filling our country with your population. You're filling our country with your products. And nobody see nothing wrong with that. Oh, if somebody want to make us stop you being racist. Well, let us go fill up your country then. Well, since all the manufacturing jobs in there, let's let all our steel workers go to Mexico. Let us all go to Canada. Let us all migrate there. You got roadblocks to stop us from getting in your country. You got laws in place to keep us from running across to your border. Oh, you can't do this, you can't have this, you can't have it. But all your ill-gotten souls can run over here to our country. You commit all kind of crimes in Mexico and all the other parts of the world and just run your behind right to the United States. And we're supposed to just say, come on in. We the land of the free. Make that foolishness make sense, people. Stop listening to all these news programs with these so-called educated minds up here trying to fill your head with nonsense of the highest order. Pull back the covers on certain things and ask why. Don't just listen to it. Even with me, don't just listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Pull back the covers and look at what's going on around you. That's why I named my program Stop the Capping. Capping, in other words, another form of lying. When you lie, you put a cap on it and then you run around. Stop listening to everyone's narrative and kind of open up your own eyes and see things from a different vantage point. The reason why I kind of like not listen to kind of some of the things Donald Trump is saying because he's trying to do something instead of just following the same narrative as all the other presidents before him. He's not afraid to make some changes. They may work, they may not work, but to just keep on going year after year after year with the same Democrats in there ain't doing nothing but passing out some money when people start hollering like a pacifier. Keep giving people a pacifier. See, the Democratic Party, they just a bunch of individuals, as far as I'm concerned, walk around with pacifiers. We get the crying and they get the stick shoving it in our mouth, and when we shut up. That's what our Democratic leaders do for us. They stick a pacifier in our mouth when we start complaining and moaning and groaning instead of trying to make some good decisions. They stick a pacifier in our mouth to keep us quiet. They change our wet diapers to keep us quiet. So my thing is this: why not try a different approach? Why not try a different idea, a different viewpoint? If it don't work, okay, we can say it didn't work. But we don't try nothing. We just sit around here. First thing out of my mouth, oh, it ain't gonna fail, it ain't gonna fail, it ain't gonna fail. No. Another thing, in the Trump administration that's trending now. It's the tariff. The tariff on foreign products coming in and out the country and all that type of shenanigans. Now everybody's screaming and hollering about how it's going to hurt the economy. The economy's already damn near hurting. Where y'all living at? I live here in the city of Chicago. Prices going up left, right, center. They've been going up left, right, and center even before he got in office. He only been in office 43 days. Prices had already been going up long before he got in office. So let's stop with that foolishness right there. Prices were already going up. Rent sky high. Go live in California. Look at all the people living on the streets. Wow. All this foolishness was going on even before he got into office. Talking about the economy this, the economy that. The economy was already in a ruckus before he got there. Prices, rental, taxes already out of control. And the fluctuations of immigrants into our community out of control. And then the president of Mexico, she gonna get on there and talk all tough and bold and sway, but yet your people is running from your country left, right, and center to get over here. But now you gonna get on the mic and talk shit, poke your little chest out. But your people running over here left, right, and center. But now you want to act tough. Now you want to throw your little card in. Now you want to say, "Oh, he's being a racist." Now you want to pull out your little card. That's what I said. We become puppets to other people. Oh, you're not bringing nobody back up here. Oh, and ain't no plane landing in my country. They your damn people. They're your people. Should I start a movement? Let us all run over there. Should I start a campaign? Let us all run to Mexico. Hell, you sure ain't gonna run to Canada like that. But if we stop it, now we racist. Make that make sense. Now he wants to stop the fluctuation of our borders being flooded with foreign products, and nobody really want to buy ours. When the imbalance, when there's a serious imbalance, and trust me, many of you sitting home right now ain't never left this country in your life. Y'all just sitting at home watching news, reading news reports left, right, and center, and y'all believing every damn thing that y'all hear on TV because nobody gets off their ass and leave this country and travel the world and let's see what's really going on out here. Let's see how people really treat and care about us. Because trust and believe me, they don't. We're just a means to a better situation for certain individuals. This country is a means for certain individuals to come here to fill their pockets, fill their family pockets. They could care less about our values. Trust and believe me, they could care less about our values if we have any left. If we have any true values left in this country. But people screaming and hollering about, oh, the tariffs gonna hurt the economy and left, right. The economy wasn't even good in the first place. Let's just be truthful. Let's stop lying. Let's stop capping. The economy wasn't that damn good anyway before he even got in office. Price was getting out of control. Rental is getting out of control. Property is getting out of control. Prices were getting out of control even before he got into office. Come on, a dozen of eggs that used to cost $1.29 ain't even been 43 days later, and now they over to $5, $6, $7 for 12 eggs. Come on now. Tariff wasn't even in place yet. Price was already out the roof, left, right, and center. And don't say, and I don't want to hear this crap about because the immigrants are being pushed off. No, you can replace them. There are workers out there. You cut down on that rent, people won't have to be needing so much demands for money. So you can't have it both ways. You can't be a farmer and try to lowball people, but then turn around and say market value for rental property and how much you charging people to live in these properties. You want to charge more money than what they actually making. Make that make sense because it's the democratic way, because it's the capitalist way. So y'all just want to charge whatever you can. If you can't afford to live it, don't stay there. So that man who would take that farming job, he can't take it because his landlord ain't charging rent according to his pay. Landlord, like if you can't afford it, get out. Get out. Oh, I can't afford to pay American workers. Why come you can't afford to pay American workers? I can afford to give a worker $16, $17 an hour. If that employee didn't have to pay all these high rental prices, which needs to be regulated, it needs to be balanced. You can't have a disproportion. So you want to lowball the workers, but you want to provide the capitalists with the upper hand and things. Make that make sense. You want to give the people in the real estate industry and the landlord industry the right to do this left, right, and center, but then you want to keep the working man at this level. You want to charge all the amount of rent that you can with no control, whatever you want to do, and then make it make sense. When that man on the totem pole can't pay it, now he got to live out on the streets. But you want to talk about some inflation and all this and all that and what it's going to cost. It was already in effect before this thing happened. Things were out of hand before Trump even got into office. Things were going left, right, and center before he got into office. Now he want to make some changes, make some cuts here and there. Now everybody's screaming and hollering. Yeah, you got all these damn employees in the federal government, and do you need them all? Hell no, you don't. No, you don't. But oh, we lay all these people out. What we gonna do with them? That's what the point he's trying to make. We need to start thinking better. We need to become a nation again of builders, not spenders. We need to become a nation of builders, of creativity, instead of spinning, 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 spinning. We need to change that mindset moving forward. We need to get back to building and creating. Listen to me. We need to become a nation of builders and creators. And I ain't talking about social media creators. I ain't talking about making videos and music and sitting around popping our fingers. I ain't talking about being better athletes. That's the foolishness that I'm not talking about. I'm talking about being creators of products and services. Instead of everybody else sending all their stuff over here to us, it falls apart left, right, and center. Then you take it back. Now you got to go through the hoops to get compensation. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, pulling the covers back and try to look at the bigger picture of what he's saying and what he's meaning, and stop trying to put a black and white spin on everything. Stop trying to make it a black and white issue. We can't move forward because we keep on trying to push that issue and agenda on everybody. People out here with these agendas want to keep up this foolishness, want to make it a black and white thing, want to make it about racism all the time. When that's not even what he probably owns. He on a simple fact like I'm saying it. 40, 50 years ago, we led the world in producing, manufacturing. You know, we run around here like puppets on a string, kissing everybody's butt for deals when we was leading the world. When the world was coming for us for things. Nah, don't nobody want our products. Nah, keep your stuff. Everybody want to send all their stuff to us, but don't want us to send under their stuff. No, hey, we don't need you. We good. We good. No, we good. You see how that works? I'm gonna send you mine, but I don't want yours. I just take half of it. I don't really need that. Nobody sees that vision, but the minute somebody see that vision, now they being racist. I'm gonna flood your market with my products, but I'm barely gonna touch yours. Nah, y'all ain't bringing that down to my country. You can buy mine, but nah, I'm straight. I'm good. But nobody sees nothing wrong with that. Nobody sees nothing wrong with that foolishness, with that with that deficit. You're gonna send me all your products, but you don't want none of mine. You're gonna flood my market with all your products. You're gonna flood all my stores, shopping centers with all your products, but you ain't gonna take none of mine. Nah, you good. When it comes to my product, you good. Like you out here producing high quality merchandise. I can't think of how many stuff I done brought with China on it and the stuff broke 2 or 3 days later. Because if I say something about it, nah, I'm being a racist. So we got to get out of that narrative of that black and white thing. Everything got to be a racist because it doesn't fit our narrative. So when I say something, you doing something wrong. Oh, you hate. The minute I say disparity in something, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. See, I pulled the cover back on Donald Trump just a little bit more instead of following everybody else. Let me pull it back just a little bit more. Let me dig into it just a little bit more. Okay, so now with the Social Security, everybody get mad. Oh yeah, smart. He finna mess with the Social Security. Well, if you got 200 some people out here in the world that's over 150 years on the books, still getting Social Security, that's a problem. If you got 50 people out here collecting a check and they saying they're 120 or blah 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 blah, and they still in existence out here, and ain't nobody came to check to see what was the Census Bureau about. Okay, what was the Bureau about? When we supposed to have people come out to your home and ask, hey, how many people live in here? How many people in the home here? What are the ages of the people? So we know what's going on left, right, and center. How can we have people out here deceased and somebody's still getting a check? But now if he go looks at that, now he's messing with Social Security. If he's trying to find a way of cutting spending, needless spending, unjustifiable spending, different ballgame. But at the same token, don't go find cuts in spending, and then turn around give promotions and raises to senators and congressmen just to pacify them. Once again, like I said, putting a pacifier in people's mouth to keep them quiet. That's not right either. Don't go finding cuts and ways to save money in the federal government and then turn around and give yourself a 4, 5, 6% raise. That's not right either. Because you there to serve the people, not to get rich. You there to balance society, not get rich. Not walk around with a wheelbarrow pushing money that you don't earn. We got too much shenanigans in this country, and it got to get balanced out. I'm not saying everything Donald Trump is good, and I'm not saying everything he's doing is bad. Some of it makes some sense if you look at the bigger picture. How would you like me to come in your neighborhood and sell you all my products, but when you come in my neighborhood, I don't buy not one piece? That don't make sense to you? Y'all can't see it. Oh, we do this, it's gonna hurt this, it's gonna hurt that. Well, if they flood their market with all yours and you can't sell none of yours, how's it benefiting you in the first place? Make that make sense. How you benefiting? If none of your products and services are being brought, how are you gonna make it anyway? I can go down here and buy that cheap stuff from China. I can go here and buy this from over here. I can go and buy that. But it costs too much to make ours. We got too much excuses to not to do things in this country. We make too many excuses for not getting things done. There's an excuse for this, an excuse for that, excuse for everywhere we look in our country. There's always an excuse for something not getting done. There's always an excuse for something not being able to move forward. Always. It's always an excuse. We can't move forward because of an excuse for something. Because there's always an excuse and there's always an agenda blocking the path. Always. There's always some type of shenanigans going on in this country why things cannot move in harmony. Always. Someone always has an agenda in place to stop this, and that. Whether it's the race car, whether it's this, whether it's economical issues going to come up, whether there's a tax problem going to happen here, whether it's going to be an inflection here, or this going to be, it's always an excuse and a problem from someone if someone brings up an idea to make a move or try to move the needle or try to do something or try to stop something. Somebody always comes up with this, if you do this, inflation this. If you do inflation this, the country going to hurt here. The country's already hurting. The country's already hurting. Country's hurting because nobody wants to make moves. We're afraid to move the needle. We're scared left, right, and center. And then we got people throwing cars here and throwing cars here. Race cars. And it ain't even about that. We can't see the bigger picture because we're too busy going black and white. So while we sitting around here arguing black and white, everybody else around us is prosperous and growing. And our idiot selves are sitting around here still hollering black and white issues. We're still stuck on the black and white issues. And everybody else around us is just moving left, right, and center. But we still sitting in the same stagnant position for the last 50 to 60 years, hollering about black and white. Make this foolishness make sense, people. Stop the capping. Because that's all we're doing is going around in a big circle, making a fool of ourselves, instead of looking at the bigger picture. Thank you for joining me. Leave your comments and opinions in the sections. Like I said, these are only my personal opinions. Share your opinions and thoughts with others. They may see a different viewpoint. So if you're watching this video, you got some comments, you got some concerns, you got some issues, some agendas, post them. Let myself and others see what other opinions out here. It don't have to be a black and white thing all the time, people. It can be a human racial issue, and we helping each other within our community. See, that's the thing about the United States. That's the problem with this country. We're so different that we cannot stand together. We're so different that we cannot be united as one. That is our problem with our country. We are divided by meaning. And we can't seem to get our common ground together to be as one. We're like 10 fingers on the hand. Instead of them working in unison like our hand, we're all shaggle-baggle all over the place as a race and as a nation within this country. We're just going left, right, and center. There's no cohesiveness in our lifestyle. We're just all over the place. You got a race of people over here, different race over here, different nationality here, different this, different that. And then none of them are trying to come together as one. Everybody's trying to have their own little piece of the pie and their own little spot and section within the community. No one's trying to bring it together. We can't never get on one accord because we keep looking at a black and white issue. The world is changing and it's moving fast. So we got to get out of this black and white scenario type of thinking. We're still stuck on the same needle, and it's been over 60 years ago. And we still stuck on the same that needles. We just like that. We still stuck right here, and we ain't moving. We ain't going back, and we ain't moving forward. We just stuck. Sometimes you need somebody with a needle and stick us in the asses and get us moving. Maybe that's what Donald Trump is in office for, to stick the needle in us to get us to moving, to start doing something. That's all I got for you for tonight. Be back at you again. Y'all maintain your flow. Like I said, leave your comments in the pin. It's all just a pin. Because at the end of the day, we only going one place, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, we all only going one place. All of us gonna get dirt poured on us. You better believe it. Some of you may say, well, I'm gonna get correct. At the end of the day, you still leaving here. You can argue left, right, center, up, down, screaming, holler all you want. At the end of the day, we all getting up out of here. So, but until that day come, let us unite as one and be as one. I'm your host, and thank you for watching this edition of Stop the Cap. Good night. I'm out of here. Peace.